consequences of drug use. So what you see here is a list of DSM-5 criteria. In some countries, there's another international classification called ICD-10, but they are also behavioral based, and there's a pretty much high degree of overlap between these two types of criteria. So now, if you now understand, if you follow, if you believe what we're telling you, that drug use is a disease, then maybe it will be easier for you to understand why these types of messages are not particularly effective. So you've seen that, it's not translated into Russian, but you all can read. Just say no to drugs is the commonly used slogan everywhere. I've seen, I don't have pictures, but I've seen posters like this around Russia. Well, this just say no to drugs is very hard for some people because they don't have direct access to the neurotransmitting processes in the brain. They cannot forget. They cannot really control what's going on in the brain. They cannot undo easily the conditioning, whether it's classical or operant, and it's complicated. So we know that the model of just not using drugs is not quite effective. We often work with this type of interventions that are based on motivational enhancement approaches. I don't know whether you're familiar, some of you I'm sure are familiar, this is the traditional motivation enhancement approach developed by Prохазка and ДиКлементе, and it's been popularized in many parts of the world, including Russia. The premise is that if you increase the motivation, if people really, really want to stop using drugs, it will help them. Well, it's true, yes. For some people it's a matter of motivation, but I've seen many patients, and Robert's seen many patients who are really, really, truly motivated, and they really, really do everything they could, and they still cannot stop using drugs. So for these people, we develop a slightly different model. And the slightly different model is not just say no to drugs, but say no to drugs and yes to pizza. Meaning, we need to, people who, in order to recover from drugs, they need to replace drug use with something else. Just staying away from drugs is a kind of a half recovery and not